Beyond the Mic with Sean Dillon.
We're joined on the star line by two authors with new books out. Tobly McSmith, author of Stay Gold, and Andrew Eliopulos, author of The Fascinators. Welcome.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah.
Let's go Beyond the Mic. Both of your novels deal with feeling out of place and finding yourself. Tobly, how has writing your book helped you?
It's helped in so many ways. You know, it is a story of a transgender boy in Texas who transfers to a new high school and decides to go stealth or hide his gender identity. And as someone that grew up in Texas and actually went to college in Lubbock, it was a good experience to go back into my young adult head and think through how I would have lived if I had come out and transitioned while I was in Texas. I live in New York now. But I am a Red Raider.
It's always good to have a Red Raider talking to a Red Raider.
Yeah.
Andrew, what about you?
I would say a lot of what Tobly said. I'm from the South. I'm from Georgia. My book is set in a conservative, small southern town. It's religious, and the three main characters feel a bit like outcasts. The main character, Sam, is realizing that he might be in love with his best friend, James. And very much for me, it was writing a story set in a town like mine, only with magic, because that was the kind of book that I liked to read when I was a teen and just didn't see gay characters and stories with magic in them, let alone one set in the South. So it very much saved me by allowing me to imagine myself in a town like the one where I grew up, had my life been a little bit different.
Both of your books deal with those awkward years of high school, fighting to survive till graduation. Oh, yeah. What message do you have for students trying to survive high school now? Tobly?
You know, I think if it feels confusing and it feels scary and you feel alone, there are so many resources out there to learn more, to meet people. And that's what I would say. You know, when I was in Lubbock in the 90s, there wasn't a lot of resources out there or things I could find. And it really did make me feel alone. But there's so much of a world out there and a connection that you can have. So I just urge people to find your group, find your herd, your community, and feel connected and understood as much as you can.
What about you, Andrew?
And I would say, I mean, you know, it's a simple message, but the message is pretty radical. It gets better. You know, you might feel like the confusing years of high school are how it's always going to feel, and that absolutely is not the case. Like Tobly, I left Georgia. I'm now in Brooklyn. I very much feel like I found my people here, and that life looks so much brighter than I ever could have imagined when I was in high school.
Tobly, you've written an assortment of musicals. Where do you draw your inspiration from?
What's amazing is that when I went to Tech, I studied business. So obviously, I'm a writer now. You know, I came to New York, and I was inspired. Me and my best friend make musical parodies that travel the U.S. and the world and play in New York. And I think we wanted to offer our voice into it and how we see the world. And the same as with the book. Like, it's just getting my voice out there and a view on things and hoping that young adults will read it and feel a connection to it.
Andrew, as an editor, talk about the power you have, not only getting your voice heard, but other writers' voices heard.
Yeah, as an editor, it's definitely a personal mission to make sure that I'm bringing so much diversity of voices to the table. You know, being a gay man myself, but being part of the LGBTQ plus community, you know, that's a number of other letters besides G in there. I feel like the more stories are out there, the more readers have a chance of seeing a character who looks like them on the page. And as somebody who knows what a difference it makes to see your identity represented on the page, I sort of have it as my mission to bring as many different identities to the page and to the world as possible.
Tobly, when writing Stay Gold, what message did you struggle with but finally discovered when that final page was written?
Wow, that's a great question. You know, a theme of the book is staying true to yourself. And both Pony, the trans boy, and Georgia, the love interest, they are on their own journey of how to stay true to themselves. At the end of the book, though, you know, this book is great for anyone in the LGBT plus community, but it's also for everyone to understand what it's like, one experience of being transgender today in America and in Texas. And we need the most allies. We need people to help support us. We need people to protest with us. We need people on our side. And that's what I hope to comes from the book, because that we need more than anything right now.
Andrew, with the Fascinators, how did your passion for magic influence your writing?
Yeah, so, when I was growing up, I was reading a lot of fantasy. I was reading Lord of the Rings. I was reading Wheel of Time. And the idea of seeing a gay character in a fantasy story like that was almost unimaginable to me. So getting to combine, my passion for magic and for fantasy stories with parts of my real identity, for me, it was like, it took me a long time to be able to even imagine what that would look like because it was so far from what I had read and seen growing up. So it really was a combining of two passions.
For both of you, how have you spent the pandemic on trying to improve yourself?
Well, being in New York, the quarantine was so much more. It bared down on us and really put us in our house for months. And it gave me a lot of time to think. I'm working on a new book with a transgender main character, so it gave me time to really focus on that. But it really was a time to look at this world and say, are we doing everything right? Could things be done better, And I think a lot of people thought that way. And can I do more and better for every marginalized community? And so I really think it gave us time to reflect on that.
And for me, I would say, I've found it a hard time to be creative. I have definitely felt in my apartment for the past 3 months in Brooklyn like I'm in a little bit of water treading territory, but it's also forced me to be more purposeful with my connections. I've been on Zoom calls with family and with friends across the country. I've been doing book events as part of live streams and just really forcing me to think about how important the connection to other people is and what a community really means, because it's not just the places you go outside of your apartment. It really is all these other people. And so being really intentional about staying in touch and building these communities has been a real big part of this for me.
Time's running out, so it's time for the Rocky Nate. 8 random questions. Answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. Tobly, you go first, then Andrew.
Okay.
There is no pressure.
Oh, boy. I feel
you cannot anticipate the Rocky Nate.
I'm kidding.
Let's go.
Okay.
Place where you got most of your writing done.
I have a small desk. New York has a small apartment, so very small little nook that is my world,
Local coffee shop for me.
Favorite color?
Red, for some reason.
Blue.
When you were in school, what was your favorite class?
Oh, shoot. Probably PE or whatever, where you got to go out and move your body.
I'm going to say calculus, which is a little off the wall for a writer, but I thought it was so fun, actually, and I had a great teacher.
Wow.
Andrew, how about your favorite cereal?
Oh, gosh, this is embarrassing, but Reese's Puffs. I've had like 3 boxes during this pandemic.
Tobly, which one of your cats gives you the most trouble?
I think it's Bam Bam. He's like 8 months old and he wants to play 18 hours a day, and I can't keep up. I'm always letting him down.
I've missed mine. Totally missed it. But I want to know, will you go to your high school reunion?
I've already missed my 20th year reunion, but I'm actually, after the book came out, a bunch of high school people have connected with me, which is such a great feeling.
And I think I would go to my 20th, but same as Tobly, I've heard from people from my high school who've read the book, and that's been great.
Is there a country that you would like to visit?
I want to go to Spain. I really love Amsterdam. I want to go back there all the time.
And I want to go to Greece as an Eliopulos.
Nice.
Do you have a favorite TV show to binge watch?
Oh boy. I just finished Killing Eve, which is really, really great. I suggest that one. Killing Eve.
And I just finished Mrs. America on Hulu, and my head is really wrapped up in it, so I would recommend that one.
Stay Gold and the Fascinators are available wherever books are sold. Authors Tobly McSmith, Andrew Eliopulos, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today.
Thank you so much.
Wreck 'em. Thumbs up.
And that, my friends, is Beyond the Mic.